Very good morning. You're watching Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with the breakfast news. These are the headlines we are tracking this morning. Pakistan claims Jaish-e-Mohammed chief among 31 people arrested in the Pathankot air base attack case. Government says it is yet to receive official confirmation. No decision yet on Foreign Secretary level talks. Final call expected to be taken after the return of National Security Advisor Ajit Doval from Paris today. In a big relief for farmers, the Union Cabinet approves implementation of the crop insurance scheme. Insurance cover to go up to 50% of total crop area from the current 23%. Congress targets centre over poor performance on key economic indicators, says government is not serious on getting GST passed. And the United States thanks Iran for prompt release of 10 sailors who were arrested for entering its territorial waters, says prompt action demonstrates usefulness of diplomacy. Well, Pakistan claims it has arrested 31 people, including Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Azhar Masood, in the course of its investigations into the attack on the Pathankot air base. But the Indian government says it has not received any confirmation on this yet. Further, it's still undecided on going ahead with the Foreign Secretary level talks. Last night, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj to discuss the developing situation. But the final decision was deferred till the scheduled return of National Security Advisor Ajit Doval from Paris today. Contrary to reports from Pakistan, the Indian government said it had no confirmation about Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Masood Azhar being arrested. The reported Pakistani crackdown comes 2 days ahead of the scheduled Foreign Secretary level talks between India and Pakistan. In the wake of the Pakistani assertions, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar and Foreign Ministry spokesperson Vikas Swarup called on Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj at her residence in New Delhi.
Yes, EM has now gone to meet the Prime Minister. The decision on the foreign secretary level talks will only be taken after that meeting.
So any official communication from Pakistani side today? Any kind of...
No, we have no official confirmation. We have seen the press release that has been put out by the Pakistani side, but we have no official confirmation on the arrest of Masood Azhar.
News reports on Wednesday quoted Pakistani officials saying that Islamist hardliner Azhar was detained 2 days ago along with his brother and brother-in-law and will remain in protective custody for at least 30 days. They also claimed that offices of the group have been sealed. The arrest of others was announced in a press release from the Pakistani Prime Minister's office. Pakistan also said a special investigation team will be sent to Pathankot, adding that considerable progress has been made in the investigations.
It is good that they have arrested some people, but who are they? Are they lower functionary officials of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, or are they really involved in this operation? Or they were just picked up some people and then they'll interrogate and release them. This will not help solve the problem. We want Pakistani government to take this matter very seriously, investigate properly, arrest all those people who were responsible for this attack.
It's a very good news that the Pakistanis have detained 2 of the terrorists in their custody now. That is a clear indication that the Prime Minister of Pakistan is very serious about the commitment of fighting terrorism and fighting extremism, our extremists who are already taking advantage of India and Pakistan bring bilateral relation and confidence building measures. So this is a very positive point, that there will be a confidence building measure if the Pakistanis act swiftly and making sure that these terrorists and their infrastructure is totally destroyed.
Pakistan claims it's serious about investigating the role of Jaish-e-Mohammed that allegedly sent 6 militants to attack the Pathankot air base. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And to give us more details on where that story is moving, we're being joined by our correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, a very good morning. Uncertainty still looms large over the Foreign Secretary level talks between India and Pakistan. As on the moment, where do things stand? What all can we expect to happen throughout the day? Any expectations on what's going to happen? What's the fate of the Foreign Secretary level talks?
Yeah, actually, Tina, it's really an interesting situation now that Pakistan has started working on the information provided by India. And India had told that it is actionable intelligence and Pakistan can act, arrest, and institute an inquiry. So, for this reason, you can say that it is a right step in right direction at the right moment. But as far as the Masood Azhar arrest is concerned, India is still in confusion that whether Masood Azhar has been detained or he has been arrested or he has been just put in protective custody so that there should be no harm on him. So these are the three things that India is trying to assess, that whether it is a serious move from Pakistani side, that it is an act according to the words and deeds according to the promises made by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And after this assessment, I think that National Security Advisor is somehow or other is in touch with Pakistani National Security Advisor. As you know that he is already in Paris and he is coming from Paris, and it has been decided earlier that both National Security Advisors will meet outside India and outside Pakistan. So I think that there might be some communication between the two NSAs. And similarly, there has been high-level meeting in India. Foreign Secretary and External Affairs Minister went and met Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday night. And then there will be some consultation today, and around 4 p.m. today, there will be some announcement that what India is going to take a stand on the Foreign Secretary level talks and how India believes that Pakistan has moved in the right direction to the satisfaction of India or not. This is
Also,
really interesting to see in the evening.
Also, Akhilesh, there is, of course, no official confirmation from the Pakistani government. The Indian government has no clarity on whether Maulana Azhar has been detained or arrested, as you rightly mentioned. So is the Indian government going to seek a clarification or seek a confirmation from the Pakistani side?
Naturally, it is Government of India's whole endeavor to understand that what Pakistan is doing actually, and after Pakistan assures or after Pakistan says that this is the stand I have taken, this is the action I have taken, then only India can say that yes, it is the action according to the information given by Indian side to Pakistani side about Pathankot incident. And only after that, if India is satisfied with those answers by Pakistani side, then only the Foreign Secretary level talks will take place tomorrow. Otherwise, I think that it is very unlikely that if Pakistan doesn't give any satisfactory answer to the India's query about this Masood Azhar and other incident, what type of arrest has been made, what is the future course of action, I think that has to be satisfied. And when NSA will be here in Delhi, I think within an hour or two, I think things will be much more clearer than it was earlier.
All right, Akhilesh, many thanks for joining us this morning and giving us those details. So the fate of the Foreign Secretary talks between India and Pakistan should be clear by evening today. Moving on, Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag put out a strong statement yesterday saying the Indian Army was ready to take up any challenge. His remark came just a day after Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar said that those who wreak terror havoc in India will be paid back in the same coin. General Suhag also dismissed reports that there was lack of coordination among teams during the Pathankot attack.
I would like to assure the nation that your army is highly motivated, singularly focused, fully prepared and ready to respond to any threats or challenges to our national security.
Close on the heels of Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar's remark on the Pathankot attack, warning of a payback in the same coin, Army Chief General Dalbir Singh said on Wednesday that Army was ready to take up any challenge. Even though he chose not to comment directly on Parrikar's remark, he blamed the Pakistani Army for having derailed the peace process a number of times in the past.
या पाकिस्तान आर्मी का रोल है, उसके आप हर रोज़ पढ़ भी रहे हैं पेपर्स के अंदर और न्यूज़ के अंदर आ भी रहा है, टीवी के अंदर। हमने जो एविडेंस हमें मिले हैं वो एविडेंस दे दिए हैं। डिटेल्स ऑफ एविडेंस क्या क्या दिए हैं वो तो NIA और सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी का काम है, वो उन्होंने किया है, उसका डिटेल में बात नहीं करेंगे। लेकिन डेफिनेटली हमारे पास मैंने खुद देखा है वहाँ पर मार्किंग्स जो हैं मेडिसिन के ऊपर मार्किंग्स पाकिस्तान की हैं, सिमिलरली बाकी कुछ इक्विपमेंट्स हैं उनके ऊपर मार्किंग्स हैं, तो उनसे साफ जाहिर होता है कि वो आए तो वहाँ से हैं। जहाँ तक इन्वॉल्वमेंट है वो अभी ये एविडेंस दिए हैं और उसके ऊपर आई थिंक जांच जारी है.
The army chief's remarks come in the backdrop of reports that Pakistani establishment was not on board with their Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif when it came to talks with India. On Pathankot attack, General Suhag said there was no lack of coordination.
I want to inform that is not 2 columns. There were 8 columns of the army, and each column had almost 70 people. And also, in addition, the para special forces team was also there. Therefore, that report I just want to clarify. The NSG had initially just 1 team, but army had 8 teams. And on ground, it was the army brigade commander who was controlling the army columns.
The army chief said this while addressing his annual press conference ahead of Army Day celebrations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a very short break here at this point. More news and updates on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. Well, the union government has cleared the new crop insurance scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. The scheme will have a premium as low as 2% for Kharif crops and 1.5% for Rabi crops. More details of the scheme in this report.
कैबिनेट ने यह फैसला किया है कि एक नई फसल बीमा योजना लागू की जाएगी जिसे प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना कहा जाएगा.
Announcing the decision made at Wednesday's cabinet meeting, the Home Minister termed the new crop insurance scheme as a shield to protect farmers from weather changes. The new scheme aims to increase the insurance coverage to 50% of the total crop area of 194.40 million hectare from the existing level of 23%. The centre will incur an expenditure of around 9,000 crore rupees.
खरीफ में 2% और रबी में 1.5%. और पहले 15% तक था. यानी पहले ज्यादा लगाओ और कम पाओ और अब कम लगाओ और ज्यादा पाओ. तो 11% के कैपिंग के कारण नुकसान की पूरी भरपाई नहीं होती थी. उसको इस नई बीमा योजना के अंतर्गत उस कैपिंग को हटा दिया गया है.
The cabinet also gave its approval to the constitution of an empowered committee of secretaries to process the recommendations of the 7th Central Pay Commission. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
The opposition Congress targeted the government yesterday for its failures on the economic front. Senior party leader Jairam Ramesh claimed that contrary to the belief that the Congress was stalling the GST bill, it was in fact the BJP and the Prime Minister who were opposing it. The BJP dismissed the charge and expressed confidence of an economic recovery very soon.
The Congress on Wednesday accused the government of botching up on all economic indicators. Party leader Jairam Ramesh asserted that while manufacturing growth and outward shipments had plummeted, inflation is only ballooning. He also accused the government of misleading the nation on the passage of GST bill and claimed that the top leadership of the BJP is actually opposed to the bill.
नवंबर 2015 के जो आंकड़े निकले हैं, 4 साल, 1 महीना नहीं, 1 साल नहीं, 4 साल में सबसे कम दर नवंबर 2015 में देखने को मिला है. ये रहा औद्योगिक विकास, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्शन, मेक इन इंडिया.
The ruling party refuted the charge and asserted that the NDA government is steering the economy onto a high growth trajectory.
The whole world knows, everybody knows that the GST has been blocked by the parliament. They are trying their maximum to derail the economic agenda, but the government, NDA government is committed that we are going for a strong economic push. If you see, there has been in November figures are low, but if you go see in October figures, there were more than 9.5 growth in the IIP figures.
On Tuesday, the government released data that showed both the Industrial Index of Production and Consumer Price Index under stress. While the Consumer Price Index inflation edged up for the fifth straight month in December to 5.6%, industrial output contracted by 3.2% in November. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And in news from Kerala now, Vice President Muhammad Hamid Ansari declared the state as the first in the country to attain total primary education. Describing the achievement as historic, the Vice President said that Kerala has set a model for the rest of the country to follow. The Vice President called it another feather to the state's educational cap and said the state was marking the successful culmination of its Atulyam program, aimed at ensuring total primary education that is equivalent to Standard 4 of formal education. He credited the achievement to the state's political leadership, public functionaries and the people of the state who have valued the importance of education. Earlier, the Vice President visited the Shivgiri Mutt, a revered spiritual center in Varkala in Kerala. After paying respect at the Mahasamadhi Mandapam, the renovated stairway was opened to the public. The Vice President also launched the centenary celebrations of 2 books written and authored by the Mutt Guru.
I believe that the date today is as historic for Kerala as was 18th April 1991, the day Kerala was declared to be a fully literate state. Today, Kerala adds another feather to her educational cap. The state is marking the successful culmination of its Atulyam program aimed at ensuring total primary education in the state equivalent to Standard 4 of formal education. This was the fructification of the continuing effort under the Total Literacy Campaign through the well-planned and executed post-literacy activities and the continuing education program by the Kerala State Literacy Mission Authority under the Government of Kerala.
And time now to take a look at all the important news and events lined up for today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Union Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari will meet members of the automobile industry following the government's move to directly implement the Bharat Stage 6 emission norms by April 2020, skipping the Bharat Stage 5 standards. Gadkari's meeting comes amid concerns raised by automakers over the strict emission norms. Heads of over 30 top car makers, including BMW, Honda and Volkswagen, will be present in the meet. Delhi High Court will hear private schools' petitions against using their buses in the odd-even trial today. The court has sought the Delhi government's response on a plea against its order to private unaided schools to provide their buses to be run as public transport during the odd-even scheme from the 1st of January to 15th. The wholesale price index numbers for the month of December will be released today. 2 major data, the consumer price index and the index of industrial production released on Tuesday, were weak as the CPI rose to 5.61% in December from 5.41% in November. The wholesale price index has been negative for a year, which indicates poor industrial demand besides falling commodity prices. Time for another very short break. All the international news to follow on the other side. Do stay with us.
यह है राजस्थान का थार रेगिस्तान, यानी कि भयानक जगह। यहाँ पर सरवाइव करना बहुत मुश्किल है। राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सीरीज के इस एक्सक्लूसिव एपिसोड में रेत के उन भयानक टीलों के दुर्लभ दृश्य जो 24 घंटे के अंदर अपनी जगह बदल लें और बीएसएफ का काम बढ़ जाए।
पाकिस्तान का जो था डेजर्ट है, दूर दूर तक कोई वेजिटेशन, कोई हरियाली कुछ नहीं दिखती। पानी की बहुत समस्या है। सर्दियों के दिनों में 0 से लेकर गर्मियों के दिनों में 50 डिग्री तक टेम्परेचर चला जाता है इस एरिया में।
देखिए राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा का सुपर एक्सक्लूसिव एपिसोड बीएसएफ थार रेगिस्तान में, सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back once again. You're with the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. Now, Syrian security forces have arrested 4 Indians who had landed in Damascus to join the Islamic State. Syrian Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim gave this information on Wednesday at a press conference at the end of his 4-day India visit. He said all 4 Indians are currently in a prison in Damascus right now. Al-Muallim also said Syria and India are in the process of deepening intelligence and security cooperation to deal with the threat of international terrorism. And news just coming in, at least 6 explosions were reported from the Indonesian capital, Jakarta. One of them was near the United Nations building. Many people are reported to have been injured. As we speak, a gunfight is underway at a shopping center called the Sarina Mall. The area also has many luxury hotels and offices and embassies, including the French embassy. Reports suggest the police have cordoned off the area, preventing reporters from going near the scene. Eyewitnesses said 3 people died and a gunfight was ongoing in central Jakarta, while local television news said 6 explosions were heard. Witnesses said the explosion was caused by a suicide bomber, but there was no immediate confirmation. The country has been on high alert after authorities said they foiled a plot by Islamic State militants to attack government officials, foreigners and others. On Tuesday, the jailed radical Islamic cleric Abu Bakr Bashir appealed to an Indonesian court to have his conviction for funding a terror training camp overturned. Moving on, the 10 US sailors arrested by Iran on Tuesday for entering its territorial waters were released yesterday. They were captured by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps when one of their 2 vessels broke down while training in the Gulf. The release came after it was determined that their incursion was unintentional. The US thanked Iran for the swift release of its sailors. Secretary of State John Kerry said the resolution of the matter was testament to the critical role played by diplomacy in keeping the country safe.
I want to underscore how pleased I am that our sailors were safely returned into United States hands this morning. I also want to thank the Iranian authorities for their cooperation and quick response. This kind of issue was able to be peacefully resolved and efficiently resolved, and that is a testament to the critical role that diplomacy plays in keeping our country safe, secure, and strong.
And time now for all the other international news and updates in this quick world wrap. A deadly avalanche hit a high school group skiing in the French Alps on Wednesday, killing 2 students and a Ukrainian skier accompanying them. 3 others are reported to have been seriously injured. Local media reported that the avalanche was triggered after several groups of skiers dislodged a large slab of snow. Mountain emergency services were immediately pressed into service for rescue. Other students were brought back to safety. Local authorities said that the area had been closed off prior to the accident amid high avalanche warnings. It's unclear why the group ventured onto the ski trail. The UN Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, met ambassadors of all 5 permanent members of the Security Council in Geneva yesterday. The meeting included discussions on how the UNSC will implement the next steps of its resolution and a roadmap for a peace process in Syria, involving talks between the government and the opposition members. The talks are slated to take place under the UN auspices in Geneva on the 25th of January. The Islamic State suicide bomber who killed 10 German tourists in the heart of Istanbul on Tuesday entered Turkey as a refugee from Syria and went undetected as he was not on any watch list. Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu gave out this information on Wednesday, saying the bomber registered himself with the immigration authorities in the city a week ago. He also confirmed that the Turkish security forces detained 4 people in connection with the attack. Top nuclear envoys from the United States, Japan and South Korea agreed that a meaningful new sanctions resolution was needed for North Korea after its latest nuclear test. The envoys also called on China to do its part to rein in its isolated neighbor. The World Economic Forum cancelled its invitation to North Korea at its annual meeting in Davos in defiance of a UN ban. North Korea conducted its fourth nuclear test last week, claiming to have tested its first hydrogen bomb. Liberia is set to be declared Ebola-free today for the third time in a year, as West Africa appears to finally be over the epidemic that left over 11,000 people dead since it began in early 2014. Though Sierra Leone had the highest number of Ebola cases at 14,122 compared to Liberia's 10,675, the death toll was highest in Liberia at 4,809. Hundreds of health workers who treated Ebola sufferers were themselves infected, with some dying due to a lack of training and equipment to deal with a disease not previously seen in that part of West Africa. The outbreak infected nearly 3 lakh people in the West African region. And a look now at all the sports stories this morning. Indian tennis ace Sania Mirza and her Swiss partner Martina Hingis equalled the record for the longest women's doubles winning streak by advancing to the semi-final of the Sydney International. The top seeds defeated China's Chen Liang and Shuai Peng 6-2, 6-3 to extend their winning streak to 28 matches. They now need to win one more game to beat the record set by Puerto Rican Gigi Fernandez and Belarus's Natasha Zvereva in 1994. Barcelona star Neymar will appear before a judge in Spain to testify in an investigation into alleged irregularities involving his transfer to the Catalan Giants. Neymar's parents, former Barcelona president Sandro Rosell and current president Josep Bartomeu, also will have to appear before a judge according to court documents. The Brazilian striker is set to testify also on the 2nd of February. The court is looking into a complaint made by a Brazilian investment group which claims it was financially harmed when Barcelona and Neymar allegedly withheld the real amount of the player's transfer fee from Brazilian club Santos in 2013, in part to avoid paying the full amount of taxes. Barcelona will appeal before the Disciplinary Committee for Sports over the 2-match suspension of Uruguayan star footballer Luis Suarez due to his behavior in the aftermath of the Copa del Rey clash against Espanyol. A few days ago, the Spanish Football Federation Appeals Committee rejected the appeal to overturn the suspension of Suarez. Barcelona decided to file an appeal to TAD to reduce the suspension to 1 match only. FIFA today fired General Secretary Jerome Valk for his alleged role in corruption involving World Cup ticket sales. FIFA's Ethics Committee had announced opening formal proceedings against Valk last week. Valk has, however, denied any wrongdoing. That's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.